Picture this: a doctor who dedicated his life to saving people becomes the inventor of one of history's deadliest weapons. But here's the twist. He truly believed his killing machine would result in fewer deaths. This is the story of Richard Gatling, the forgotten genius whose moral paradox would haunt him until his dying day. A man who asked himself, can taking more lives actually save more lives? Born in 1818 in Hertford County, North Carolina, Richard Gatling was far from your typical weapons inventor. The son of a farmer and inventor, young Richard inherited his father's innovative spirit, but initially directed it toward helping humanity. By age 21, he had already invented a successful seed planter that revolutionized agriculture. A device meant to feed people, not harm them. Gatling's brilliant mind and compassionate heart led him to study medicine in Indiana, earning his medical degree in 1850. But it wasn't the pursuit of medicine that would define his legacy. It was what he witnessed during his medical practice that would lead to his most controversial invention. While treating patients, he became fascinated with mechanical solutions to human problems. He saw how machines could amplify human capabilities, for better or worse. His early years were marked by a series of humanitarian inventions: improved plows, better seed drills, and various medical devices. But the drums of war were beating, and soon, Gatling's inventive mind would be pulled in a direction he never expected. As the American Civil War erupted, Gatling found himself confronting a harsh reality. The battlefields were turning into meat grinders, with soldiers dying not just from bullets, but from disease and infection in overwhelming numbers. He watched as small units of men with traditional rifles were ordered to charge into devastating fire, only to be cut down en masse. The primitive medical facilities were overwhelmed, and Gatling was haunted by the sight of young men dying in agony. But what troubled him most was the inefficiency of warfare itself. He observed that large numbers of soldiers were required to maintain a constant rate of fire, exposing more men to danger than necessary. The technological limitations of the day meant that for every soldier firing, many more were needed to load and support. This realization led Gatling to a controversial conclusion. If fewer men could produce more firepower, fewer soldiers would need to be on the battlefield. The challenge before him was both technical and moral. Could he create a weapon so terrible that it would actually reduce the scale of human suffering in war? The very idea seemed paradoxical, but Gatling was convinced it was possible. As he would later write, "I thought it a terrible thing that one man could take another man's life. But if we could reduce the number of men required to fight a war, we would reduce the number of lives lost." In 1861, drawing inspiration from his earlier seed planter design, Gatling began work on a weapon that would change warfare forever. The principle was brilliant in its simplicity. Multiple rotating barrels, each firing in sequence, operated by a hand crank. Like his seed planter that could rapidly plant multiple seeds, this gun could rapidly fire multiple bullets. The first Gatling gun was completed in 1862. It could fire up to 200 rounds per minute, an unprecedented rate of fire for its time. But this wasn't just about creating a more efficient killing machine. Gatling's design was revolutionary in its mechanical elegance. Each barrel would cool while others were firing, preventing overheating. The loading and firing mechanism was automated, reducing the number of soldiers needed to operate it. He even incorporated a forced-air cooling system, showing the same attention to detail that marked his medical devices. The military's initial reaction was skeptical. Many officers saw it as an expensive novelty, but Gatling was persistent, continuously improving his design. By 1865, his gun could fire up to 400 rounds per minute. the US Army finally adopted it in 1866, marking the beginning of a new era in warfare. Private demonstrations left observers in awe. One military officer wrote, "The effect is so terrible that no column of men can stand in front of it." Yet Gatling remained convinced that his invention would ultimately save lives by requiring fewer soldiers on the battlefield and ending conflicts more quickly. The tragic irony of Gatling's invention began to unfold as the 19th century progressed. Rather than reducing the scale of warfare as he had hoped, the Gatling gun became a symbol of industrial-scale killing. It was used in colonial conquests, labor disputes, and conflicts around the globe. The weapon that was meant to save lives by making war more efficient instead made it more deadly than ever. Gatling watched as his invention was superseded by fully automatic weapons like the Maxim gun, which could fire even faster with less human intervention. His name became synonymous with mechanical slaughter, overshadowing his numerous other inventions aimed at helping humanity. In his later years, Gatling struggled with his legacy. He continued to defend his invention's humanitarian intentions, but the reality of its use weighed heavily on him. The man who had started his career trying to save lives through medicine now had to reconcile with creating a weapon that had taken countless lives. His other inventions, including improvements in plumbing, bicycles, and steam cleaning, were largely forgotten. The final blow came when the US Army officially retired the Gatling gun in 1911, the same year he died. His last years were spent watching as his invention was made obsolete by even deadlier weapons, while his original humanitarian vision was lost to history. Today, Richard Gatling's story serves as a powerful reminder of the complex relationship between innovation and morality. His invention marked the beginning of modern automatic weapons, fundamentally changing the nature of warfare. But more than that, his story raises questions that are more relevant than ever in our age of autonomous weapons and artificial intelligence. Can technology designed to kill ever truly serve humanitarian ends? The Gatling gun's legacy extends far beyond its military impact. It represents a crucial moment in history when human ingenuity crossed a threshold, demonstrating both the brilliant potential and terrible power of mechanical innovation. Gatling's other contributions, his medical devices, agricultural innovations, and numerous other patents, paint a picture of a man who genuinely wanted to improve the human condition. Perhaps the most important lesson from his story is how the best intentions can lead to unforeseen consequences. In an era where we grapple with the ethical implications of new technologies, from AI weapons to genetic engineering, Gatling's moral dilemma feels startlingly relevant. His story reminds us that the responsibility for our creations extends far beyond their intended purpose. The next time you hear the term Gatling gun, remember the doctor who thought he could save lives by building a better way to take them. In the end, his story isn't just about a weapon. It's about the eternal struggle between human ingenuity and moral responsibility. Let us know in the comments. What would you have done in Gatling's position? Should inventors be held responsible for how their creations are used? Follow us for more forgotten stories of genius and innovation that changed the world in unexpected ways.